Hi, I'm Viv. I'm a creative designer based in Melbourne, Narm, and I really felt like last year I was in a point in my life that I just felt very stagnant creatively and in life, and I knew that I wanted to have some sort of change so that my creativity could be sustainable inside of my 9 to 5 and outside of my 9 to 5, because I knew that I just wanted to keep creating and designing and just doing really cool things, but I just felt that I didn't have much to give. Like, I didn't have much creativity to really pour out into projects that I was really excited for. But when it came to actually executing, it just felt like I had no energy to give. And so I knew that I needed to do something. And that's when the Artist Way came in. So I'm really going to delve into how I got into the Artist Way, the process for me, and my main takeaways that I've gotten from the book and what I guess am thinking about to today. I started on the 29th of August 2023 at 5:26 p.m. I wrote it down in a journal. I finished it 103 days later, which is 3 months and 11 days. And I finished it on the 10th of December, 2023. It was a really great time for me to start. I was surprised that I finished it within 3 months, even though I had it like an extra week and a half. My friend introduced it to me a few years ago, and it sounded like such an interesting concept. So the concept of it is that it's a 12-week program. You do these 2 tasks that happen every week, and then there's different journaling prompts and activities that you do every week, which changes, which is accompanied with like some text and some main ideas for the day or like for the week. With the Artist Way, the 2 things that you do throughout the 12 weeks is the artist date and morning pages. So morning pages are like 3 pages worth of any thoughts you have in your mind as soon as you wake up or whenever throughout the day, and you just write it down every day. And I think that's really great with analyzing your thought patterns, things that you've always had in your mind, but you just don't really realize how you think until you see it on paper, or if you type it up, like until you actually see it in front of you. Sometimes you don't realize what you're always thinking. And I think that's really good when you're trying to figure out negative thought patterns that you don't realize that you have, or you might think that these negative thoughts are just like the only way to think, when there's really more than 1-2 ways of thinking. And I think that's what I realized when I did morning pages. And I think the morning pages were great because I also tried different formats. So like I wrote it on online paper. I drew things out sometimes. I did a little mind map sometimes. Like I really just did whatever that was in my mind, or visualized things and drew things out. Like I think that's a really fun thing, and that no one's going to read this journal of yours. The way that it's meant to be is you talk about your biggest dreams and your worries and your stresses. I think before I used to only think journaling was to talk about your stresses and the negative things in your life, but I didn't think to use journaling or to use like writing as a way to, what's the biggest dreams I could ever have? What are the best things in life that I have happening today? Like I used to always think that it had to be a day-to-day thing about today, or it had to be my stresses of today, but I just wrote my biggest dreams. And I think that's a really nice thing, that a lot of the journaling prompts are trying to get you to think of like, what are your biggest dreams and biggest desires? Okay, and then with the artist date, I think that was like such a fun thing to think about. I think for people, it's very easy for them to say, because of money, I don't want to spend all that on myself. But I think she makes a really good point that you could just do things that are free, like taking a walk in the park, walking in stores which you really like, and you just want to admire the designs or how people would have created the things. So it's like having your glass full to be able to create things from. Like you can't expect to be an artist who has amazing things if you can't even fulfill your own your own creative desires. And if you fulfill your own creative desires and you like take in like super like nice things in life and you really enjoy the life that you have and you're trying to find the pockets of joy, then you can just like find it in your work and you have something to create from within you. And I think you can't create from nothing when you are just low and you aren't trying to engage your creative self with things. So how I engaged in it was like going to like a bookstore and just browsing books. I feel like I did that 3 times within the 12-week thing, and then going to the museum in Melbourne. There's NGV, and like going to that was really nice. Yeah, just even like taking a walk outside because I'm such a homebody. I think that was like really refreshing. I think taking dance classes felt like a way of engaging my creativity that wasn't just like strict designing myself. And that was really fun. Those are the 2, I guess, main things. So I've written down takeaways from the book. The main emphasis of the whole book is that the process, not the product, should become your focus. That was very, like, I knew it, but I think having it spelled out in different chapters in different ways was important for me to think about. I think growing up, I used to think that if I don't get it the first time, then that isn't for me. What I realized is that that's very much a fixed mindset, and to grow as an artist and as a human being, it is also easier to think of things in life as like you have the potential, but you need to practice and trust in the process. The quote that was given in the book, which I still think about a lot, is I'll focus on the quantity and then the quality will just come somehow from all the practice that you've done. You are able to discern with yourself easier and faster what's a good design and what's a bad design, what's a good solution and what's a bad solution. So I think it's just like the practice, like with practice, quality will come. And you can't expect to have that high standard of quality if you haven't just made attempts, if you haven't tried the different methods. Another big takeaway I had is that originality is the process of remaining true to ourselves. So I think I've always struggled with trying to create original work when it felt like my ideas didn't really live up to the things that I saw on Instagram or Pinterest. And it just felt like, how do I make something original? Like, what does that even mean? So her perspective on it is that all work is influenced by other works or other people, and how we respond to art is based on our own experience, and we see it in our own light, where we could imagine ourselves as like our own little island, and within our own island we have all these different interests that we have, and from that mapping of those different interests, that creates the term original. So I think how I take that and interpret it is that you have interest in multiple things that no one will have the exact same interest in. How you connect and resonate with these different interests also will differ. It reminded me a lot of Feel Like It's Here. This one, Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Really good, like, short read, and I feel like the main part of the book is that no one's original, but I think it's sort of like you can't just like blatantly just copy one person's design. His approach, and also how I interpret it, is that you combine like 1 or 2 different ideas or 1 or 2 different works, and you create it in your own style and your own light. That is something that I'm still trying to do. My voice is just like, I get nervous and then I get comfortable and then I get nervous. Anyways, I'm still trying to find my style, and I feel like it's this lifelong question I have for myself. Like, what is my style? What is my design style? Like, always try to like niche myself down, or like try to have exact words on my style, and still finding that out. But I think maybe it's the process of work or the people that I work with, and just that they're very, I think that they care and they're passionate about what they do, and they're trying to just make some sort of change or difference in their community or in their field. And I think I just resonate that they're not trying to be the same as other businesses or other people. So I think maybe that's like the same line of what I like to work with, rather than saying like a particular type of design style. Another thing is that positive affirmations are so much more important than I realize. That how you speak of yourself is really important. How you speak to yourself in your mind. I'm just giving constructive criticism to myself and trying to be realistic to myself. I think I just didn't really allow myself to dream and expand how I think, because I thought it was just a waste of time, or I didn't have the time to do it, or have the affordability to like have that type of thinking. But it's free to like think that way, and it's free to dream up big things, and the little steps towards your dreams doesn't have to be blocked out times of hours every day. I'm just trying to let myself live in that space of dreaming bigger for myself and actioning on things that I've always wanted to do, such as like doing this podcast, YouTube format, even though I'm like so nervous and my voice might shake a bit and I'll say a lot of and I have so many thoughts in my head, right? Just like, it's just endless. But I think I know my head's going to be a lot more clearer because of the fact that I did act on it. I think another thing that's been sparked is my love of writing. Last year, I also started reading again. It was because I had a stiff neck and I couldn't move my neck for a week. And so that's when I started reading ACOTAR. So then I got back into fantasy again, and then I started reading some nonfiction. So gotten back into reading and writing. I initially wanted to be an author. Like, that was the first thing that I ever wanted to do. So I think just journaling, even just for myself, and writing out responses to the journaling prompts was really nice to spark that love again, and also the love for like handwriting things. So I actually filled out 3 notebooks in the midst of like finishing The Artist's Way, and I just wanted to show them off. So this is MD paper, so it's like cream notebook. I got it from Milligram. Really nice. It also has like a red bookmark. It's so soft to write. Also, it's nice, just lies flat. I enjoyed this as like the first book I used to like journal in, and it's unlined, which was like, I had to get used to that, but I think it was also good because then I could like draw and like compartmentalize certain things in it as well. And then the second book that I got was Any Day Now. I got it from Dimmicks, and this is good as like a hardcover. It also lies completely flat. It's nice because it has rounded corners, but I would say that the pointy corners on the other end is just like, it just hurts. But it's such a cute little book design. This time I wanted to try getting a lined book just because the other one was unlined. And then the final book I got was, I forgot where it was. I think in the north, Zetta, Florence. I also got a ballpoint pen with it. This is what it looks like. There's also like a hardcover that's meant to be here, but I prefer it without. This one also lies flat, and I've realized that's a quality that I really like in a notebook now. And I went through 2.5 pens, I think. So right now I'm still actually doing The Artist's Way. I guess in the way that I'm just still doing the morning pages and I'm still reflecting on the different teachings in the book. I think I would really imagine myself like revisiting it maybe once a year, even if I'm just skimming or wanting to get like some journaling prompts. I feel like it's just a good way to connect or reconnect if like, how are my thought patterns? Am I speaking highly or like in positive light about myself, about my work? Am I limiting myself in how I'm thinking? Am I being led by other people and their thoughts and their wants and needs? And I think this whole book is just really like trying to put yourself first, like in your whole life, putting yourself first. And I think that's why I've like really tried to create a morning routine, which is just serving myself, doing some sort of physical activity first thing in the morning, and then going straight into writing my morning pages out, and then doing some sort of creative task that's just for me and just for practice. I think what I'm trying to do now is like really get into my design practice that's for me, that's upskilling myself to be able to do things with clients. I'm really excited with how things are going, and I think there's going to be days where I'm a bit worried about how things are going, but what I've learned in this book is that I guess like you can really believe in yourself. You can really believe in your support network. If you know that you are making steps towards your dreams, whether even if it's just like to be comfortable, like just to have comfort and to have stability, I think that's amazing. I think it's very hard when there's different changes that are happening to have pockets of time for yourself, even with friends and family. Like, I still think it's important to be able to put yourself first, to help other people, and I think I've been able to show up in a way that I can help friends and family by helping myself first, and also reaching out when I need help. Very much like I just want to focus on the process of things, focus on creating things and not thinking about the end goal too much. Just don't want to be thinking about, oh, if I finally accomplish this goal, like what's next? I think if I have the goal of just wanting to continue being better, then it just helps so much every time I do achieve these milestones as a byproduct of doing the process and sharing and actioning all the things I want to do. If you do try the artist's way, you have this in mind. If you don't try it, I think that's fine. It's like the type of book or 12-week program that you need to be in the mind to do, and I didn't really get into the mind until like 2 or 3 years later after hearing it. I think just think a lot more about how can you fill your creative cup so that you don't feel yourself getting burnt out, and how are you letting yourself play and just have fun. It doesn't have to have like a lot of money tied to it. Just like what's the processes that are in your life. So thank you so much for listening. I'll cut up this video and like see what's the end result. Thank you for listening. Hopefully like I can do this more structured, but it's very fun and very like cute and spontaneous. Like I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I get so shy and like, I need to get the script perfect. I feel like I'm only going to get better after doing like things every time. So I'm just going to do it and then focus on the next thing. And thank you guys. Bye.